started about 16 months ago, and I was in Europe, and I worked very hard on a previous series for a gallery in Switzerland, Cercle d'Ami, and it was a print edition, and I was working with the master printer, Masafumi Yamamoto, in Barcelona, and it was just a long and pretty intense work cycle, and I think I was kind of burnt out, and because I arrived jet-lagged, and we were working long hours, and when I finished, I knew that I had my residency in Italy ahead of me, and so I wanted to just go and sit by the sea and unwind and just recover. And I was very fortunate to have a beautiful studio in the top of the castle. It was completely empty. I felt completely empty. And I had this Japanese paper with me, left from the print project, nothing else. And it turned out there were some inks left by a previous artist who couldn't take them on the plane. So there I was in this empty space, ancient cell. It was a monk cell, and with this Japanese paper and a dropper from the bottle of ink. And I started. And then the next morning, after I made a series of marks, and I would just make one more and another, just with the breath, very quietly. And then it was quite damp in this space. And so when I came back in the morning, some of the spots had moved a little bit with the dampness. And then I started getting really interested in just what would happen in the environment. So that was a long series, and I don't think there's anything from that group, that work, in this show, because it's then evolved, and it has about 3 sections now, and this work was done mostly in Mexico, and it seemed to jump off a little bit, and the particles started to play, and they move around, and there was the color introduced, and so I thought it would be more fun for people to not just see the plain ones. I shouldn't say plain, but I meant they're to do with the intervals and the alignments and the rhythm of the mark is what's kind of it. The same with this one here. We can, over here, it's following through, as they say, to do with the breath and the space. And so that's what's from this, what I call alignment series, or intervals. And then I met some physicists at a conference, and they started telling me they were seeing things in the work and saying, this is all about the quantum theory of zero-point fields and how particles move, and then it started going from there. That I came to the back door of being interested in quantum physics, and it's just so elegant, and it's saying what my work has always said, or what I've been trying to say for a lot of years, without as much narrative in a sense. It's like it's all one thing. We're all one thing. It's the patterns that go through everything. Before I was copying kind of patterns or being attracted to patterns in nature and growth in a more sort of physical way. And this is more on the particle level, where the movement, the field, this what may also call constructive interference, and it's very beautiful. It's very elegant, and we are all important. And what we think is important, our thoughts influence things. I mean, some of us, I think, who live intuitively have always known this, and for people who are very linear, it's more difficult. But once you realize it, this is supported by hard science. And these things that we've always known, everything's energy and everything matters, right? Everything matters. And so I've never enjoyed my work as much as I do now. And it's leading me. I don't really know where it's going, but I'm following it, you know? One thing that I wanted to explain is that there's no measuring here. I'm just repeating the gesture, and it's without any alteration or painting over. I want to just make the mark, just let it happen, and let it be what it is. And sometimes I feel if I've made a mistake or something is, the line is thicker than I wanted, I just have to say, well, that's how it is, and just keep going, and just keep going and keep going, and allow it to form its own pattern. And when I'm making the small fine dots, I can notice if someone speaks to me, or even if I start thinking of something else, the lines will waver, and it's like a little diary of, you don't keep your mind still, then you see the movement and in the field.